Cast your minds back to just over a week or so ago when Theresa May stood in the Commons after the Partygate report into Boris Johnson and told us that playing by the rules was important for our democracy.
People see us making rules for them and acting as if they are not for us. That trust that I spoke about between the public and Parliament is undermined. If they see members of this House trying to save the careers of friends who have been clearly found by due process to have been guilty of wrongdoing, as happened in the case of Owen Paterson, their respect for us is eroded. And without that trust and respect, their faith in our very parliamentary democracy is damaged.
Well, the former Prime Minister may have been caught red-handed, as she's now under pressure to pipe up about her appearance at a socially distanced party she attended during the second full lockdown. The panel did turn into what has been described as a birthday party, right? But it's understood that May left before this and wasn't pictured with a drink in hand, which apparently now means something. I'm joined now by GB News presenter Darren Grimes. Darren, I don't know about you, but there has to be some kind of full inquiry. There has to be heads rolling here. There needs to be lawyers roped into all of this. And good grief, if there was any cake, then she should never work again.
Well, look, I mean, it's quite rich listening to her say that there was due process. It's a bit like putting a Remainer in charge of Brexit, that committee. Oh, wait, we did do that, didn't we? It was her, and she completely failed. Because Harriet Harman and Sir Bernard Jenkin, he might be a Tory, but he hates Boris Johnson. It wasn't due process. It was anything but due process. And I mean, Patrick, I was listening to what you said earlier. I struggled during lockdown, right? It was probably quite lonely. I don't mean to sound like Prince Harry, but I was living in London at the time. And I tell you what, even if I'd been invited to an illicit party with Mrs. May, I'd have to say no, because she's about as robotic as Keir Starmer and about as fun at a party as a vegan in a bacon eating contest. So no cheers, I'm all right if it's all the same with you. But just consider the facts. It's really extraordinary that, first of all, we had Sir Bernard Jenkin, who, as I say, doesn't like Boris Johnson one jot, found to have potentially breached the rules, and he went on to use said rules to eject Boris Johnson from Parliament. And now, as you rightly say, Theresa May has question marks around what she's been up to. She said last week that Boris had been found wanton, and that was before MPs voted overwhelmingly to actually endorse that official report to boot Boris out of Parliament. But I'm sure many viewers, Patrick, will agree with me that Theresa May can't talk about Boris Johnson being found wanton when, as I say, she promised to respect the wishes of the British people. In 2016, she became Prime Minister, and she did all she could to ensure that we had the worst hand in those negotiations that you could possibly have, because she refused to countenance a no-deal exit. It was a bit like, Patrick, which you'll have done many times before, walking into a car dealership and insisting from the off that you're not going to leave without a car, no matter what the price. So she was found wanton. So Boris Johnson, I'd take him again and again over Mrs. May.
Now, Darren, I'm about to throw something at you here, OK?
Uh-oh.
This is big news. We've had it confirmed to us. Today is the day of the Trick Awards, OK? So TV Media Awards, OK? The news has just come through. Nigel Farage has won the News Presenter of the Year award. He's smashed the establishment again. Fantastic. You love to see it, don't you?
Absolutely. That's made my day.
We're going to be playing some clips of this very, very shortly. There was some usual boos. I've had a quick look at it. Nigel gets on stage, absolutely tees off, right? But anyway, so Nigel Farage has won the News Presenter award at the Trick Awards, apparently. So there we go. Darren, your immediate reaction?
Well, look, I think it just shows that GB News really is the people's channel, because Nigel Farage, of course, a politician that's long been on the side of the British people. And I think he probably really has thrown a cat among the pigeons there, because this is a sort of lovey award ceremony and he's won. Yeah. So I very much doubt they imagined that would happen, Patrick, but I'm over the moon to hear that it has.
Well, as they say, Darren, you're not laughing now, are you? You're not laughing now. There you go. Look, Darren. Yeah, thank you very much. Just quickly, just to return to what you were talking about before. The contrast between Nigel Farage and Theresa May could not be more stark. That guy wanted to get Brexit done properly, and then in the wake of the referendum, which he fought so hard for, by the way, Theresa May rocks up and, as you said, tries to undermine us. Do you think that she may be about to fall victim to her own virtue signalling and her own, you know, nicety and decency in all of this? Because she's made a rod for her own back. If she has broken lockdown rules, and you saw the way that Boris Johnson was treated, she's got to go, surely.
Well, look, I don't think that would happen, though, because, of course, the Labour Party quite like Mrs May because she's basically a social democrat, Patrick. She's not a Conservative. And, I mean, it turns out she may well have been at a gathering that wasn't strictly necessary or potentially permissible under the rules. But, you know, all of a sudden, Patrick, running through a field of wheat isn't the naughtiest thing that Mrs May might have done, eh? That's exciting. But I do find it extraordinary, the sheer brass neck of the woman, right, to criticise Boris consistently as she has done when she was such a useless Prime Minister, and now, of course, a potential breach of the rules. It just all shows that these rules were never proportionate. Someone like Mrs May, who was a technocrat by heart, couldn't actually obey the rules herself, it transpires. The whole thing was cruel, it was unnecessary, and that's what I take away from this. But if she is hoisted by her own petard, I don't think it could have happened to a nicer politician, Patrick.
Darren, thank you very much.